What?
Yo, Gringo's in the house. Straight out of Hialeah, no doubt. East 10th Street, where we play out. Here we bring the Miami crowd. Alex, the boy with the B. Step into rhythm, feel the heat. Street vibes mixing with the Latin tree. In our flow, the two worlds meet. East 10th Street boys bring the party. Bring the noise from Hialeah with some joy.
Water like that.
Well, I'm telling you, bro. I'm focused, bro. I'm focused, man. Yeah, inside out.
You know where I am by now.
Identify as.
You know, hey. When Alex takes a shower, the dude goes for 3 hours. I mean, it's like, you know he's going to be gone for a while. You have time. Do whatever you're going to do. Go grocery shopping. Go eat dinner.
Night, Latin spice and neon lights.
Good evening, Miami, and everyone else. Thank you all for watching another episode of East 10th Street Boys, straight out of Hialeah. I'm Bobby El Gringo, joined, I think, by Alex. Is he frozen? Alex? Oh,
Hello?
there you
I'm
are.
Good, I'm good.
Hey,
good.
what's up, man?
Once again, the coincidence, bro. Everything was fine. The moment it goes live, I'm like, wait a second. I'm here looking. I'm like, what's going on? Like, do they see me? Do they hear me? Hello?
Frozen in time.
What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro. Just ran home, haven't eaten dinner, so I'm having some peanuts. So in case people are wondering why I keep reaching for stuff, doing
Salty
well,
peanuts, honey roasted peanuts,
honey roasted, salted with sea salt peanuts.
Ooh,
Yeah, man.
nice, man.
Something to snack on instead of like trying to reach for a bigger thing. Get us some peanuts, and I have some pumpkin seeds,
Oh, I love pumpkin seeds.
Yeah, Tati's like she was
Nice.
so flabbergasted by pumpkin seeds the other day, and then Audrey loves them. But big day today, not just in the world of sports with Miami, the Dolphins. We haven't talked. We just figured that out because I thought we have, but we haven't. We have not talked since the NFL draft.
We have not.
We have not talked since the Dolphins. I mean, the Heat been eliminated in the playoffs.
Correct.
So it's
A
been
lot has happened.
A lot has and today, and very, very quick too. We got in a few minutes. We got Q of the I Hate Football podcast joining us. He was a part of our draft coverage here on FTSN. He was awesome, dude. He stayed on the entire, I believe, 8.5 hours, close to 9 hours on Saturday.
That's a commitment.
And he was awesome, dude. I mean,
He had
awesome.
nothing to do. Oh, that's a huge commitment, man.
Well, there's a lot to talk about. Well, it is commitment, and that's like right here, man. I worked all day today, got home, picked up my daughter, went to her concert, waited for it. It was hot as hell in that gymnasium. It was ridiculous. Got back in the car, ran home, changed my clothes, got comfortable, sat down here with some peanuts, and I'm ready to go. That's what this is about.
I love the fact that the peanuts keep coming up back into every
Yes,
story.
Crazy Dolphin. He said it. Crazy Dolphin said it. That's right. Breaking news. Habemus Papam. We have a pope. Pope Leo the 14th. The first American pontiff. I believe on the 4th or 5th ballot today, which they just started voting yesterday. They had 2 votes in the middle of the night for us Americans. And then they had 2 votes while we were awake. But of course, we only saw like forced smoke ballots.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, anytime that something like it happens, Alex, I think it's happened only 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th time it's happened in our lifetime because Pope John Paul.
Yeah, John Paul.
Sorry, 3 times because we've had 4 popes, but
correct.
We weren't born when John Paul was elected. But we've had 3. So it was Benedict, Francis, and now Leo, and the first American pontiff. He's a Chicago's Cub fan, reportedly.
White Sox. They clarified it. His brother.
Did they clarify it's the White Sox?
Yes.
I thought it was the Cubs.
Yeah, it's the White Sox. Yeah. Now they're verified that now. Which
Josh
is funny
Wingate.
when you interview. I've never seen an interview of the Pope, and he's just like in a suburban town in the middle of Illinois, and he's just being interviewed. And it's funny, like Pope's brother. That's your little description.
Like the Pope's brother looks just like him.
Just like him, man.
I was like, that's crazy. Well, and first of all, not that it matters, I guess, for Pope, but it's crazy because I went back to look up Cardinal Robert Previous interviews, and it's just crazy to hear. Now you know who's the pontiff. hear him speak clear English. You
Yeah.
know, like you know what I mean? I mean, that
With
doesn't
no
matter.
accent. No accent.
But like, I mean, I'm like, holy crap, dude! Like, he's able to communicate with people without a translator, and he knows, I think, 5 languages, can write in 7, you know, or understand 7. So that is pretty huge. Let me just ask you, Alex, first, and we get in what I was doing, because everybody kind of everybody pays attention. It's crazy. You don't have to be in Italy, Rome. You don't have to be Catholic. You don't have to be whatever to be a lot in the news. You turn on the news, it's on every channel. Everyone's focused on the smokestack, and everybody it's a big deal. So where were you when you found out there was white smoke, and did you turn it on?
Well, I was driving. Yes, I did turn it on. And by the way, to acknowledge what Crazy Dolphin said, to me, it's funny that still, with all the technology, the way we're notified of a new pope is still a symbolic white smoke, which is still from for thousands of years, hundreds of years. They said it. DSP. I must. Holy Father, I will watch it. But it's just an historic moment. It's always whether you're Catholic or you're not practicing a religion or any other religion, is still an altering seismic move in the world, because the leadership of the Catholic Church, which is, I still believe, the biggest church in the whole world, in regards to outreach and monetary effect worldwide, and standing in the world. It's still a change in that you don't know which direction you're going to go. Is it going to be a continuation of Pope Francis? Are they going to kind of go more traditional? So it's refreshing that he kind of follows the same mold of Francis, especially with the climate in our modern world. We need some sort of humility and humbleness about people. So I'm excited for him, and obviously he's gonna leave his mark. He's just starting now; it's first day. And when Francis started, we remember vividly, even Benedict, you don't really know them until a few years, and then you start seeing who they really are. Now, obviously, the whole world is gonna be caught up, because everybody's gonna have information from their whole life, good and bad. So let's see how it unfolds.
You see what Crazy Dolphin says here. He was, he's not Catholic, but he enjoyed it. I'm in Nashville, and it's the Bible Belt and whatever, and I am Catholic, but I had a lot of people who aren't Catholic who were watching it. Everybody turned it on in their offices. People were saying that they just love the tradition. They love everybody. It's the whole world stops what they're doing a lot of the time, majority of them, to watch this situation, because what you said, Alex.
Yeah.
This is a pretty big deal because of what his message could be.
Correct. He's the voice of the people.
Yeah, and so and they always they go crazy on the name. Like, hey, okay, when Jorge Bergoglio became Pope Francis, and he named himself Francis, everybody's like, whoa, Francis of Assisi, the poor, the downtrodden, and he wore the black pants and the black shoes. He never wore the red leather shoes.
Correct.
I just love those little those little details.
Yeah.
And so when he came out and they go, Leo the 14th, you're like, wait, oh wow, okay, so is he following Leo the 13th, who was like 100 years, something like that?
Yeah, over 100 years ago. Yeah.
So it's so cool. And again, I was listening to it today. I was like, everywhere I went, like I was like, one thing froze. I go to like the ABC, CNN, Fox, turn on the radio. There it is. YouTube. Everything. Everyone was zeroed in. And so anytime this happens, not because it's a certain person, especially, well, now it's major history because it's the first Pope from the United States of America.
Very nice, correct.
Born of Chicago. But anytime this happens, they're still celebrating in Doral right now. They're honking their horns.
Leo. Actually, Leo's our neighbor. They probably stole the chicken or something. But Leo, give me a chicken, man.
But it's not just because it's the first American Pope. But anytime this goes down, because these are guys who live and die in the job, minus Benedict, who resigned, it's a pretty big deal, because these guys are like, and what I love to hear, and DSG, I'll answer your question. I did, and I'll talk about it in just a second. I did see the movie, but anytime one of these guys are elected, they're expected to be there for 10 plus years, 5 plus, whatever, however long they were a part of it, they're around. I just love hearing when they go like, he's 69, 70 years old. Like, wow, that's a pretty young Pope. That's youthful. And I like, and I go,
think about that.
Yeah. I'm like, is it, but first off, he looks youthful. He doesn't look like old or frail or nothing like that.
Yeah.
My father is 70. My father doesn't look like that either. My father is pretty good, but it's crazy to think that, that they went there, because that could tell you, okay, this could be a 10,
Correct.
15-year type of situation compared to the older ones, like a Benedict. He was an older guy. Where
Yes.
John Paul, I was thinking about that today. It's so true. He went for 29 years because he was elected.
Correct.
He was elected at 58 years old.
Which I think we're never going to see that again. They want to see generational changes at times. But I mean, John Paul II was by far, well, it's what we've known. It's really what we've known. Yes. He came at a time where the whole world needed him. And he was a solid rock for everybody. So obviously that's the example.
But that's the thing, right? Here's the thing, like he and I don't want to put, it's been but he's one of my favorite. I have a book on him and all that, but he was a traditionalist. He was the people's pope. He really was. I mean, Francis was the people's pope. That's what they call him. But
correct.
John Paul reached out to the youth. He made it cool, and you enjoyed him, even though he was a conservative, and with the things. I mean, and he was the pope of our childhood.
Correct.
Benedict was more of a teacher, a theologian. Correct. He knew, like, he was a historian. So, he wasn't really, but even though there were some good moments with people, I don't want to say that, but that's what he was. Where Francis was more of that people person. He would go to people's houses and knock on their doors and visit with them. And he didn't wear all the bling and all that whatnot. It was a little different. So it's interesting to see where Leo will go. He was made cardinal in 2023. Correct. Francis brought him from Peru to the Vatican, where what's up, Lou? Lou's in the house. Raphael just tuned in. Appreciate you guys. So brought Provost to the Vatican, where he led, I don't know what the exact title was, but basically in charge of appointments. So he had a pretty big office there, a high important role. So it's just interesting because everybody had all these different names. You had Taglier, who was the more energetic cardinal. You had Erdo. You had all these different names. Everybody's, I hope it's this guy. Everybody came out. Whoa, who do you hope it was? Well, I did have a preference, but I think it was important not to push that, because I saw so many people. I hope it's not this guy. I hope it's not that guy. I think that's so wrong.
That's ridiculous, man.
You're already setting it up for failure. Yeah. Let it work out. Whoever it is, these guys voted him in. And let it play out. And if you are Catholic, trust it. Trust in the if not, this is a big deal for the world. And so it's the first American pontiff. Awesome. I think today I was like, I'm watching. Tati was messaging me. She was, at first she had didn't show no real interest in it. Like, obviously you do. What I mean? You find out, the Pope passed away. Oh wait, here comes the conclave. You get into it, but she wasn't really into it until the white smoke. Yeah. Until found it out, and then she started researching. She's like, I love this guy. Yeah. And she's like, he was a huge moment. And he spoke Italian, which is normal, right? That's what they do. That's the language. But he put in some Spanish in there for his community in Peru, which was pretty cool to hear. Just an epic moment for DSG. Yes, I did watch the conclave. My mother was telling me, you have to watch this movie. You have to watch this movie. So I finally did. And I'm not like most people. I don't get really offended by a lot of things. I don't really get offended by anything. So I know a lot of people were offended by the movie or whatever. I just enjoyed it. The only thing that bothered me, because I know how the Papal Palace looks and all that, was the room of the Pope. When they lock the doors, which happens when the Pope passes away. Yeah. It was like, which really the cinematography. Being a film student, the cinematography was like, red, black, and marble, which kind of alludes to like mysterious and sinister, whatever, because it's going on in there. When really it's like wood and art and whatever. So that was my only complaint. But the movie itself was. I thought they should have made it a series. I would have been more interested in a series like, wait, what? Why did the Pope fire this guy? Yeah. Why? How did the Pope die for any particular reason? Where did this cardinal come from? Another country out of nowhere. There's so many different storylines in this one movie. It was a great movie, but I think they should have made it. It was a good movie. I think they should have made it a series. DSG, an atheist. I'm just glad Americans aren't wearing those ridiculous jester outfits. Okay. Tradition. Lou says from Chicago, and apparently a White Sox fan, so he's loyal. That's right. That's true. That's right.
That's really true. For you to be a White Sox fan is like us being Marlins fans.
Or Dolphin fans. Or
Dolphins fans.
Or right now Heat fans. But
it's okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right.
Aqua and orange until I die, man. But it's so this is big news up front, just around the world. Everybody's paying attention to it. It's all over. I put on Twitter, to kind of see, and you can't get leaks. But like Adam Schefter was tweeting it. He was like,
which was funny as hell.
He was like with the first, with the 260 pounds, and then
they gotta play the music. They gotta play the music.
Like Pat McAfee was covering it. He stopped the whole show. He goes, "Hey, we got white." So it's like, dude, this is crazy. That
it transcends. It transcends sports. It transcends life. That's part of it.
It's just crazy, man. But look, this big news will continue to wait it out and see how it continues to play out. Mm-hmm. But the first American pontiff, Pope Leo the 14th, that happened today, and so the world continues to watch how that goes down. So let's go ahead and we'll put this out. We got a special guest coming in here. Alex, you have not met him yet, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I know you're going to love this guy.
All right.
He was on our draft show. I met him on Will's show, 305 Sports Now. It was me, him, and oh my goodness, a friend. But it was a great show. And we hit it off, and I was like, dude, would you be interested in come on the draft show? And he's like, hell yeah. I did not expect him to stay the whole show. Like, he was on for like 8 straight hours. I think he was holding maybe he had a diaper on, maybe he holds his bladder.
It's like a guy in the pool drinking beer. Like
he was just straight up like, I left, I came back, he was still there, and he was like killing it. So, and I didn't want to bother him. Of course, I was doing post-draft stuff, but I reached out to him the other day. I was like, I'm going to reach out to him, see if he wants to come on. He was like, dude, I've been waiting. I was like, oh, cool. All right, let's go. So let's bring in Q of the I Hate Football podcast. There he is. What's up, my man? How you doing, brother?
What's up, boys? How we doing, man?
What's up, man? Pleasure meeting you, bro.
Nice to meet you, brother. Nice to meet you.
Likewise, man.
Glad to be able to join you guys, man. How's it going?
No, man, it's going good, dude. I've been, I told you this post-draft or during the draft, like, I got to get you into East 10th Street Boys, especially when I found out you're born at Hialeah Hospital. I got to get this dude in here. But first off, before we get into any of that, since I haven't talked to you since draft, how the heck are you, brother? How's life?
Everything is good, man. Everything is good, brother. Can't complain. Life is good. Work is good. Everything's everything's peaceful and under control, man. I mean, just got back from the beach a few days ago and just can't complain, bro. Everything's everything, man.
That's right. DSG, low key, they picked an American Pope so they don't get tariff. Come on now. That's pretty good, though. That's pretty good.
You can't tariff the Pope.
Look, good luck getting anything out of Vatican City.
Dude, they're gonna give you a dang.
It's a reason why they're their own country.
That's right. That's
nobody's playing with them.
No, that's right.
The smallest country in the world, you ain't tariffing them for nothing.
That's the craziest thing that I don't think people realize.
People don't realize that the Pope is head of state.
Even though it is, he's a monarch, but it's the smallest country in the world. Yet again, I was thinking about that today, and because I was talking to my kids about it, and I was like, everybody go because we're like, why did everybody go there? Because it is the smallest country, but he is the leader of the church. That Catholic Church, which has billions of people. So that's why the presidents and the kings and the queens and everybody goes to the Vatican.
They go which is like the ring.
It's crazy, but it's at the same time it's like tradition. It's like it's just cool. It's cool. But it's also like cool. Wow.
If you've ever been to Rome, man, you got to put that on the.
I do want to do that.
Rome is the coolest city I've ever been in. And again, Vatican is just kind of part of it. Just an amazing place, bro. I mean, like I said, every step you take in Rome is a historic.
That's why. Yes, don't get me wrong. Like if I ever do go to Rome, I know the flight. I don't know how long the flight, but I do want to go to the Vatican, obviously.
It's not 7.5, 8 hours. It's not crazy. I mean, it's not crazy.
Yeah, just pop a pill, go to sleep, wake up.
That's it. 100%. You can drink. You drink for free internationally. You'll get 2 meals, the whole deal. And typically those flights are overnight. You get on the plane, man. Get on the plane.
Well, you guys didn't know Q was a travel agent. He's a travel agent. You all didn't know that. You just figured that all out. But
been to a couple places.
But no, I do. I think the Vatican would be awesome to go to just history alone, how long it's been there. You have the difference, obviously the art and all that whatnot. It's beautiful, but also the Roman Colosseum, Rome in general. That is awesome.
Incredible.
So, well, I pray the new Pope will bring a lot of 100% crazy Dolphin. Awesome, brother. Amen. But Q, my man, so it's been a few weeks since the draft. It's crazy because I didn't even realize. I obviously that because I reached out to you and it's like, dude, I was waiting to kind of. You're like, same here, but I haven't even talked to Alex about the draft at all. So we're gonna do it,
Cool, bro.
But now that you've had time to kind kind of digest the draft and we know what the Shorter Sanders situation and whatnot. Now that it's a couple weeks later, what are your thoughts? We'll go with Shedeur Sanders. With sort of, do you think he ended up in the right place? Or are you still kind of like, damn, what are your thoughts on that situation?
So two things on Shedeur Sanders. I think I speak for everybody when I say thank the Lord up above that we have gone past where Shedeur is going to get drafted. I'll start there because like that was one of the most ridiculous storylines that I've ever gotten a chance to witness during draft time. And I'm somebody who as a kid, I remember like listening to the draft like on the radio. You know what I mean? Like and I only have to say is like I've paid attention to the draft. I'm 45. Like I paid attention to the draft since I can remember, since I was a kid. And never in that entire time do I remember there ever being a more ridiculous storyline that just dominated the airwaves than that particular storyline. Like I just think the coverage it got was ridiculous. Hearing Mel Kiper tell people that the NFL's clueless and they're for 50 years they've been clueless. It's like, bro, you've never been a GM in the league. Like, what do ESPN gave you a platform and essentially crowned you like the king of the draft, right? But like you've never been a GM, right? I mean, like people have whiffed on quarterbacks and have hit on quarterbacks is kind of the nature of the process. But between that coverage, where he ended up at, I honestly think he ended up in one of the worst places he could have ended up at, if I'm being honest. Because I think the Browns are an unmitigated disaster. I think they're a disaster. And it starts up top. And I think if you look at every successful franchise and those franchises that have been successful for a long time, I think when you look at it, you see alignment kind of top to bottom, and it starts with the owner. And Jimmy Haslam has proven to be one of the worst owners, not only in football, but in just over the landscape of American sports. The guy has ruined so many different deals, and he's just way too involved, right? He doesn't let football people make football decisions, right? The guy owns, a bunch of different businesses and the whole deal. Yeah. Great for him, but owning a bunch of businesses doesn't make you, a football person. Doesn't make you qualified to make football decisions. Doesn't make you an NFL GM, right? And so, the stuff they've done, the Deshaun Watson deal, probably the worst deal ever made in the history of the NFL, right? I mean, you can debate the Russell Wilson trade, kind of, sort of, maybe, but I'd still say the Deshaun Watson one is a worse deal. And then kind of, we're just everything that goes on with that team. I just feel like they're a wreck. They're just a train wreck. And so, then they draft Dylan Gabriel before him. All right, they draft Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd. They draft him in the 5th. Right, to put him in a QB room, with Joe Flacco, right? Deshaun Watson, who knows what his role? And obviously, it's not going to be an on the field role, but who knows how it is that he figures into that whole room, right? And then you trade for Kenny Pickett. You trade for Kenny Pickett, like you traded a guy who honestly, like if you guys ever watch him play, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who and to me, for what my eyes showed me, and a guy that had ability, right? I don't know if he's ever going to be a high end starter in the league. But a guy who showed ability when he played, good mobility, decent arm, right, was capable, right? At least a quality backup, right? But then you trade him for like Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett had like that one stretch in the preseason that we're like, oh my God, we found a quarterback, and he's playing against guys who probably aren't even in the league anymore. And they thought they had hit on this dude, and he's been terrible. He's been terrible, the whole time that he's been in the league, with Pittsburgh, then Philly, who had, not really done much. And then, now with Cleveland, I just, so again, the QB room is a mess. I mean, I don't know what direction they're going in. I just think, again, I never had a problem with the guy. I thought it was a little bit ridiculous. Someone's legendary before you've ever been drafted, right? And kind of pushing that whole deal. I wish if he would have had a proper agent, I feel like that agent, a guy like Drew Rosenhaus or whoever it is would have been like, hey, bro, let's before we start rolling out the legendary talk, let's wait till like after the draft, and then maybe we kind of roll that out. But to roll that out, before the draft, and then kind of take the pre-draft process the way he did, he didn't perform he didn't really participate in the combine, and I don't know, man. Just he kind of set himself up for failure, honestly, in my opinion. I wasn't wishing it on him. Like I hated it for him. It was kind of painful to watch, to be totally honest with you. Then the prank calls and the whole deal, and so I'm just glad that circus is over. In my opinion, I just think he didn't go to a good situation. I think they have a capable head coach. I think Stefanski is a capable head coach. The guy's he's won coach of the year. I think there's talent on that team, but I just feel like this franchise to me is a clown franchise. That's just kind of what I feel, for his situation. And it sucks that he went to, to that kind of franchise. Deion Sanders, I think it was like last year sometime. It was like, man, if I ended up in Cleveland, I don't know if you guys saw that tweet that they dug it up. It was like last year. They were like, yeah, man, I pulled Eli Manning if I went there and they end up drafting him, which is to be ironic as hell. Who knows? I mean, who knows how, if anybody in the organization, saw that or processed it or whatever it is. So I don't know, man. Just in a lot of ways, I just don't think he ended up in a good situation overall, being the second quarterback drafted there, ending up in that particular QB room in that city for that franchise. I don't like it for him, but we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it plays out, man. It was. I can understand I can understand giving it some coverage. Hey, man, he's falling like you would do, but like to do what they were doing. Especially ESPN, like if I'm embarrassed with the coverage, Mike Kuiper seeing what he was saying and doing what he was doing. And I mean, I think his guys were embarrassed from Louis Riddick and the main host.
Reese Davis. Like they literally argued. Like they were arguing on set. He was arguing with Reese Davis and he was arguing with Lou Riddick. It's like
crazy. Like, what are you doing, bro?
Go over.
Are they paying you?
This?
Like what's
over
what
this? Like, come on, man.
And you go, for 50 years, 20 years, they don't know how to evaluate quarterback. I'm like, did you just hear what you said on live TV?
Exactly.
But it was so dumb. Alex was too busy being dad, and traveling during the draft.
Thanks,
not really.
Appreciate it.
I'm with my son. No, I'm just playing. But how dare you? But we didn't even realize that we haven't talked about the Dolphins draft. Obviously, Q and I talked a lot during the draft about Miami's draft, and we'll follow up on that. But Alex, you got to see it. Hopefully you got a chance to kind of review a little bit what they did with Kenneth Grant, Jonas Savannah in the second round, Jordan Phillips, Quinn Ewers, Ollie Gordon, Jason Marshall, Dante Trader. What do you feel after you watch it? Okay, let me ask you this: what pick stood out to you? You're like, oh, I love this pick. What got you most excited as the plane flies over?
Yeah,
international
the beautiful scenic with the crickets. The crickets are quiet when the plane flies, so I'll just wait. I'll wait for the fly.
Oh, that is kind of
crazy.
There we
go. We're good.
That's crazy.
We're good.
Yeah.
They never even put that together. Like they literally got quiet as the plane flew over.
Yeah, you see that?
That's insane, bro.
And now
they'll start.
There they go. There they are.
They start picking up again.
That's nuts. They didn't even put that together.
Noise reduction. When it's louder than them, they're like, oh shit. We'll be quiet. We'll be quiet.
We gotta be quiet.
But no, honestly, Bob, as the picks kept coming and I kept following as I was driving, I got a little bit more excited as they started rolling around. The one to me that I really, obviously for the position that he was drafted in and the value, Quinn Ewers, to me, is that his name? Quinn Ewers? Did I say it wrong?
Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers.
Yeah,
okay.
Quinn Ewers. Yeah.
I think that is a great pick in regards to value. No one expected him to drop to the 7th round. So for you to get him, at least put him in that QB room, which is a little bit more respectable, like you just mentioned in Cleveland. Cleveland has no idea what direction they're going themselves. Right. Now, Shadir Sanders has a chance because of that. Like he has a chance to play himself into a starting role. Here we understand what's happening here. Yours is your QB 2, 3. Realistically, you got Wilson. So you got all similar builds per se. Yours is probably like your biggest one, strongest one out of all of them. But I like that one. But my favorite is a running back. I forgot how to pronounce his last name.
Ollie Gordon.
Yes.
You don't know how to pronounce Gordon?
No, I forgot his name. So I'm just
gotcha.
Ollie Gordon. The thing is that I love is that they've rebuilt the running back room within 3 years, 3 straight drafts. They've rebuilt the running back room that should be intact for the next 2 to 3 years and build from there. And honestly, the quarterback Marshall Jr. and the safety Trader Jr., I feel it has a similarity to me in regards to the Bills last year, like kind of like their no-name defense, realistically, where they lost like big name defenders and even Jordan Pryor and all that. So you have kids that are hungry and they got something to prove. And to me, those are going to be the value picks that you might see playing time this year. They might be part of a package, and they might be on the field multiple times this year, depending on how they go into training camp and all that. And also, the unrestricted free agent Armstrong, I think, is a receiver.
Yeah,
that one I like too.
Andrew Armstrong, the kid they got from was it Arkansas?
Yes,
yeah.
I think it's from Arkansas. Yeah, I really like that kid. I was seeing his film, and I was able to review his film, and I was impressed by the value signing in that. So I'm just overall draft wise, you kind of beefed up your trenches, both defensively and offensive line. So obviously it didn't go into deaf ears. A lot of people, they might have reached a little bit. Look, if the player's on the board and that's who you want to pick and that's what you value, if it costs you an extra nickel, you go up and get them. You want to secure that. So and at the end of the day, I understand even the, oh my God, who's the GM that did the podcast? And he was talking about like not trading up, that there's really like
Eric DeCoste from Baltimore.
Yep. And he was mentioned, and I understand it. Statistically, the chances of the player that you pick after trading up maybe 2 or 3 spots is it really worth it? And it's a hit or miss. Sometimes guys trade up and is the perfect fit for the organization. Sometimes you just wait it out and the player falls to you. So it just comes down to a situation where I don't think we drafted out of desperation. Did some of the players that we drafted and they were on their board were positions of needs? Yeah, it could have been, coincidental, or maybe they reached a little bit. But if it's someone that you wanted, I respect that pick at all. And like you said, this is Greer's draft. You can see clear, like he's like, I'm gonna do this my way, and I'm gonna pick my guys. And if I'm gonna get fired, I'm gonna get fired because I did it my way. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
So all great points. I will say, in regards of what Miami did, again, players that I really liked coming out of it. Of course, I like Kenneth Grant. I'm happy with that pick. Of course, I would have gone Jahdae Barron. I talked about that. I talked about that with Q and Will on 305 Sports. And again, the corner who we took, Jason Marshall, was the one of the ones that was like really like kind of the one I went, interesting. And not saying he's I'm not. He's a bust. Oh no, that's not fair. It was the only one I was like, hey, I probably would have took Zoff Frazier out of UTSA, or I would have went Darian Strong. At that point, if you're looking at a corner, but that's not. Obviously, we're not running Miami's draft. We're not Miami's board. So they may see something we don't in Jason Marshall. I hope they're right. I love the 7A pick. I understand the emotions with the trade up, but I think it'll be worth it. I think that dude's a gamer. I love his motor. I love everything. He was my top ranked offensive lineman. I've talked about that. Ollie Gordon, I was banging the table for him throughout the draft process. So I was excited about that pick. And to get Quinn Ewers in the 7th round, when last year, Q, we talked about this, one of the top rated, I think he was the number 1 guy coming out of high school a few years back. He could have been a 1st round pick last year. He's projected to be a 1st round pick. At one point, they were like, he could be a 1st overall pick. You get him in the 7th round. They just signed him to a 4-year deal today, but you get him in the 7th. To me, that's amazing value. And that's a win-win because the way I've said it is, if he ends up, you got him as your 3rd string, maybe competes for the 2nd string. We'll see what happens there. But if and or when Tua gets hurt during the season, and let's say the season is in the garbage by that point, if that happens, you put in Zach Wilson. If he is, you let him see. If not, the season's lost. You plug in Quinn Ewers. He's your 7th round rookie. See what you got. Let's say he blows it up. You're good to go. You don't have to worry about it. Or if he flops and Tua's hurt again, now we can trade up and go get our starting quarterback because there's a lot of good quarterbacks coming out next year. And then you have a decent backup in Quinn Ewers. So they're it's a win-win in my opinion for Miami. Talking about undrafted free agents, Alex brings up Andrew Armstrong from Oklahoma, 6'4", 202. He went for 78 receptions, 1,100 yards, and a touchdown last year. The receiver that intrigues me, even Armstrong does, but I think Armstrong could be more of a practice squad. We'll see how he does in preseason though. But Theo Reese, 6'3", 200-pound receiver. He went. I think he went. No, he didn't go to Oklahoma. He did start at Oklahoma. But 60 receptions, 884 yards, 4 touchdowns. The tight end, Jalen Conyers, the tight end out of Texas Tech, red zone threat. That's an interesting pickup. The safety who they took, which is a guy I started looking up to. I'm interested in BJ Armstrong from Central Florida, but the safety out of Mississippi, Ole Miss, John Saunders. A lot of people had a 5th round grade on him. they signed him. They actually gave him 6 figures guaranteed to make sure he signed with Miami. Let's see. Last season, he had 27 tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, and 5 passes defended. So you think about our safety room, even though we signed 2 guys, none of those guys are for sure starters, or those guys aren't promised to be healthy. That's a solid move. I'm interested to see. Josh Wingate, am I watching quarterbacks or OGs next? Your choice, brother. I've started watching quarterbacks. We already are working. Just breaking news for everyone who doesn't know already. But we are already watching film on the 2026 draft. And Josh, coach, and myself already did meetings. We did a meeting the other day about the coverage and what we're planning on doing. So Josh has put in the work. He created a Discord with all these different. I mean, it's like, so we're gonna send that out to everybody that want to be involved in these conversations in regards to the draft, the Dolphins, NFL, and sports in general. Josh is working on that. So we're very excited about what we're doing on MTSN and our scouting team and stuff like that. So just very excited. And I mean, tell you what, first off, the quarterback class is awesome for next year. Yeah. I mean, just the sneak peek that I've been able to do. I watched a few games of a few guys. I could throw up from a few names out there. The offensive line class is ridiculous. I mean, there's no question who is there. Like, you got the kid out of Miami, you got the 2 kids out of Utah. I mean, my God, it is crazy.
Iowa's got some guys that can take Proctor. Alabama's got some guys.
I might have got to get you involved in that, man, because I know you follow that stuff. I might have to get you a part of that team, man.
Big time O-line class for the 26th draft. The quarterback class is going to be super deep. Or you got a dozen dudes who I think you could justify. Like today, right? We'll see what the 25 season brings, but you could pretty much, I would almost pencil in a dozen dudes inside of the top, like 3.5, 4 rounds, based on what that draft is going to look like next year. There's a lot of quarterback talent coming out next year.
100%, dude. It's crazy. And that's why I'm telling people it's a win-win for any team, whether it's the Dolphins or Q. I believe you're the Falcons. You're a Falcons fan, right?
I'm actually a Niners fan.
The Niners. That's right. Niners, which you guys just extended Brock Purdy.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
It's supposedly it's imminent. We'll see.
What is he getting? You got any numbers yet or no?
Bro, it's to me, I think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to land in the top 5. If I had to guess, I think he's probably going to be somewhere in that 7-8 range. To me, I feel like he's going to be, in terms of like annual value, somewhere in that 55 range, 53 to 55. With him, it's going to be the guaranteed money, and we'll see where that stands. There's somebody, Raphael just put Kittle got
60 million?
Kittle got a deal.
Kittle got the deal, yeah.
Bro, Purdy ain't getting 60 million, Scotty.
No,
relax.
Man.
Come,
it's pretty really worth 60 million.
Calm down, brother. Relax. Not getting 60 mil. Chill out. All right. Yeah. And listen, the other thing too, man, again, if we're being honest, and the whole everything's a guaranteed. It's all about the guaranteed and how they structure that and the whole deal. I don't think, regardless, it doesn't matter how that breaks down. I don't think his number is going to start with a 6. I think if I had to guess, somewhere 53 to 55. We'll see what the guarantee money looks like. But I was listening to something today that they were like, I think they're going to, the guy was saying that, he thinks they're going to structure it in a way that, it's going to be front loaded, kind of like the first 3 years.
Yeah.
And after 3 years, they can revisit and kind of see where things go. But, again, I'm not one of these people who's like, oh, Brock is better than this and the third. 49ers committing same mistake as fans. So I need more context on that one, Kevin. I mean, I don't know. You said committing the same mistake as in giving them a deal. Purdy's been available, which Tua hasn't.
That's fair.
And Purdy has taken his team to a Super Bowl, 2 NFC titles. So and again, I'm not telling you he's the most talented dude on the planet, because we know he's limited physically, but in terms of what they've asked him to do on that team, he's done everything they've asked him to do. And again, he's been available. He's been healthy. The guy scrambles better than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
He throws a deep ball better than people give him credit for. Led the league season before last in yards per attempt. He was at 9.8. I think it was a record, for a season. So again, I think the guy's more talented than people give him credit for. I think people give him shit because he's Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, I think we're
well.
past
Hey,
that.
think about what he's done that's my thing. Like, let's give him the credit because he is Mr. Irrelevant. He was drafted in the 7th round. Look what he's done in a short time in his career. And people shitting on him for $60 million. If he does get that, have to remember, if you Tua got $55 million, I think.
I think he's at 55.
Yeah. So I mean, so you got to ask yourself that same question, So it's just the quarterback market, and so
and unfortunately, that's what it is, And I've never been one of these people. It's like, next man up breaks the bank or whatever it is. But it's the precedent that they've set. It's the norms that have been established in the NFL. Like he's saying, right? A market is a market, and listen, it's up to each individual team, to decide, hey, is this person worth it, right? Because I've always said, man, look, the easiest thing in the world is to get rid of somebody, fire a coach, trade somebody, do whatever. Okay, but who you're going to replace them with? Who are you? Listen, I'm cool. Get rid of whoever. It doesn't matter who the player is, right? Get rid of whoever. Who's going to replace them? And replacing them isn't always easy, right? And we've seen that. We've seen that be the case throughout every sport. Okay, you get rid of somebody. I'll get rid of them. Okay, who are you going to replace them with? And to me, listen, I'm okay with Brock moving forward. What I'm not okay with is giving them Dak money and then not being able to surround them with talent. All right, because there's a few people in the NFL, Josh Allen. You got Lamar, you got some of these dudes who are the system, right? Very few guys are the system, right? Every player in the NFL is part of a system, right? And that's why you get so many guys that hit in later rounds in the whole deal, because it's not like in the NBA where it's the best players are very evident. The top 10, 12 guys, are the top 10, 12 guys, right? It's easy, right? You just throw some talented guys in there, a little bit of coaching, you got like 3 dudes and you can go to the finals. In the NFL, it's not like that. If the guys don't fit the system the right way, it doesn't matter how talented they are. If they don't fit the system the right way, then they're not going to be good. You see it all the time, right? And that's why guys get taken in the 5th, 7th round and end up making a team and end up being a starless. Kittle was a 5th round pick. You guys, you got examples like that all over the NFL. Every NFL team has them, right? That's why the later rounds in the NFL aren't throwaway rounds, right? You have to continue to draft
100%
all the way through the 7th round, because you have examples that Juwan Jennings, all right, staying with the Niners, Juwan Jennings, the guy who was massive for them last year, was 7th round pick. Brock Purdy, 7th round pick, so on and so forth. So those are examples like that, not just with the Niners, but all over the league. And that, those good teams that draft well hit on those guys later on and find late round guys who end up coming in and being starters and making a difference.
And I will say too, because you brought that up about paying Purdy and then having to try to surround talent around him when you don't really have the money after you pay him all that money. I still believe that the NFL should make a QB cap, separated, because it handicaps a team. Mm-hmm. You find your guy and then now you're stuck and you got to try to figure it out and lose some other guys. Yep. I still think it has to be a separate cap, but it's just interesting how that could play out.
Yeah, the percentages, the percentage. I was watching something, I think it was like on Fox Sports or something the other day, and it was, I think, Chase Daniel and all the rest of those guys, and they were going down the list of like what each quarterback, like the top 8 quarterbacks, and what part of the salary cap they make up. And the top guys, which are Josh, Burrow, Mahomes, all those guys, they're on that higher end of like 19% of the cap. 19 to 20% ish of the cap,
and that's insane.
And that's, bro, that's
for a 53-man roster.
That is 53-man roster, bro, and one dude is taking up 20%.
You got the NBA with a supermax is like a 35% of your roster,
exactly.
But that's 15 players.
It's 15 guys. Exactly.
That's insane, man.
And when you look at those teams, it's and that's the thing, man, is when you're giving out top of the market contracts, and we talked about during the draft coverage, top of the market contracts aren't a bad thing. The thing is giving out top of the market contracts to guys who are now, third contract guys who are approaching 30.
Correct.
And then on top of that, giving them to non-premium positions. And on top of that, now they're not drafting well, right? Because you got a guy like Rear, you have 2 straight years, four people drafts, right? Like you're not building the team the right way. And that's the way it's always been. The best teams built through the draft, supplement and free agency. That's the way it goes. That's never going to change, ever. Like the guys going out and winning free agency on the first day, second day, those aren't the teams winning titles.
No.
Those aren't the teams winning titles. When you're having to spend a ton of money on free agents that aren't yours, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Period. Point blank.
Bullseye, and that's the issue. Like with Miami, I was talking about that during the draft, and that's what we did. We talked about that. That was the issue with Miami. And everybody wants to talk about, oh, they need to do this. It's a fundamental issue. We don't keep our guys because we're too busy paying for other teams' guys that they built.
The thing, man.
And
you're
get
chasing
stuck.
other people's free agents, man. You're never going to sustain long term doing that kind of stuff. When you're chasing other people's free agents and not keeping yours, not extending yours year after year, that's become a normal thing. Bro, you're not going to be successful long term. You may hit 1 year, you may be around for 2 years, but you're not going to hit consistently. It's just not going to happen.
100%. So let's get into and we'll get back. We can get back to it. Somebody puts that in the comments there. A lot of people tuning in right now. We appreciate you all watching. A lot of people in the comments. You guys are watching East Tennessee Boys straight out of Hialeah. Got 3 Hialeah boys. We got Q, the I Hate Football podcast. Bobby El Gringo. Got Alex the Boy. All here talking sports, life, and everything. We're gonna get to know Q a little bit. You can put them through the random question generator in a minute.
Oh, that's the best one. Those are the best ones. You're gonna like those.
We got to get to know him.
Oh, damn!
It's going to be a very intimate conversation.
Starting to sweat a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a very intimate conversation. So if you got some cigarettes, get ready. No, just
have to light a cigar out here, bro. About to get intimate.
So, but before you, let me ask you, Q. What's your if you're a 49ers fan? Basketball, who's your team?
I'm a Miami fan with everything except the NFL.
Okay.
So I'm a Heat fan. I'm a Marlins fan.
Perfect.
I'm a humongous Canes fan. I just from the time I started watching football as a kid, the Niners were always on TV. They were always good.
Joe Montana.
Montana. my guy though. So I caught that. Yeah, I caught the end of the Montana era. But my guy is Steve Young. My guy is Steve Young, bro. That was my dude. Love that dude, bro. My absolute favorite quarterback ever, for sure. So,
well, let's start this out. Let's talk some Heat. And Alex, you and I have not talked. So,
yeah,
the Heat, the season is over. We can say they got boom bopped, and Cleveland handled their bit. Now Cleveland, and now you look at what's going on with Indiana and Cleveland. You're like, gosh,
yeah.
But
Matchups matter.
It's what it is, dude. It is what it is. You look at some other players, guys that you think about, man, the promise with Andrew Wiggins, and he didn't show up. You got to look at him a certain way, and you wonder, what are he going to do now? Of course, as soon as the season's over, it's like, oh, Giannis. Oh, this guy. And I told you
that's the yearly Giannis,
always,
speculation.
Miami's
one every year, bro. Every
dude,
year.
And I'm like,
when are we going to move?
Can we just
when are we going to move away from that?
Can we just let that go? Can we just focus on our young guys, and we got a draft a guy, and just but now Popovich is retired. He's now the president of basketball operations.
Yeah.
For Spurs. So now Eric Spoelstra now is the longest reigning head coach in the NBA. So shout out to Coach Spo, who should be there for a while longer. But Alex, man, get your 2 cents on the final Heat game and the way the season wrapped up. Where do you stand on them, and what they should do at this during this offseason? And we'll get Q's response.
Well, we are at the forever mentioned crossroads, where it was kind of a forced pick of direction, which the franchise knew. The front office knew that with Jimmy as your de facto one and your highest paid player at this stage of his career, it's not viable. It's not a viable option to contend in the league with him. Is he playing, for example, a role in Golden State that I envision him playing here with us? Absolutely. This is exactly what he's doing in Golden State is what he's been doing here in Miami. There was obviously the money situation. He wanted his contract. He's happy over there. By all means, that's the bygones. This season couldn't end quick enough, but yet you admire the push for the playoffs for the young guys. There is, I know it goes, a lot of people say this, as a coach, you understand that there is a lot of value in the experience you gain by getting your ass kicked realistically on national TV against a much better team. But in the end, matchups do matter. Believe it or not, we had a better chance with them playing Garland. Whoever said, I think it was Kyle Anderson that said that. That is an accurate statement. When Garland went down, they obviously shifted up in size, and the matchups were terrible. We couldn't keep up with them. Athletically, they were pushing the basketball. We had no answer. We went into these offensive slumps where the team that played against Cleveland, due to the matchup with Cleveland, did not look like the team for the last stretch of the season that was able to make it into the play-in. But like I mentioned, there are people always are going to talk about changes, and I understand the names that are going to come up. Durant, Giannis. Zion Williamson might come up as well. There's still certain superstars that might request to be traded from their current situations. There's Sabonis in Sacramento. DeRozan's probably going to ask to be moved in Sacramento. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of people are waiting for the Milwaukee situation because Milwaukee is in a dire situation. And there's going to be changes in Boston too. I don't care how if they even come back to tie the series in New York, there's going to be changes and decisions have to be made in Boston because economically, it just doesn't make sense. And the way that team is structured, you are going to see that they're going to make moves where it might be Holiday and Porzingis. I doubt they're going to move Brown or Tatum. I doubt it, but I would not be surprised by anything at this point. Luka got traded. So at this point, I'm like, and for a little refresher, what Nico Harrison said about Luka defensively, it is an accurate statement. I know he's going to take heat because Luka's a generational talent and he drives your franchise value up. But what he said about Luka's defensive liabilities on the court is true because we even see it with Hero. Hero was attacked in the first round. And you can't obviously Luka's a different scenario, but even with Hero, the contract extension is going to come up now. I don't think he's going to get an extension this year. And if they do, he will offer, but not for max money because you cannot pay him max money. And I love Tyler Hero as an offensive player, but you cannot pay him super max money. And he's probably going to try to wait it out. He might be moved. Realistically, to me, the only untouchables for certain people, and Bob, I already told you about this. I only have one or two that I would trade Bam for. And I would even trade him for one of them right now. But untouchables, realistically, Bam is your untouchable, in my opinion. And a close second is probably Khalil Ware. Even though people are going to ask for Khalil Ware, there's a future there with Khalil. There might be a position where you move Tyler, and everybody else is expendable at this point, realistically. Davion Mitchell, most likely, is a lock to come back. He's a restricted free agent. We have the right to match any offer. I'm pretty positive they're going to come to an agreement once free agency starts. But it's all going to come down to, out of all the trade targets, believe it or not, Durant is the most realistic one. And I don't think he's going to go for such a high price that people expect him to go, like 2 to 3 first-round picks. I don't think he's going to take that. But you are in a situation where now you're going to question, do we build around Bam and Hero? Or is that your cornerstones right now? You still need a de facto number one. So this is the opportunity. If Giannis does become available and he does request just to go to Miami, and let's say Milwaukee wants to grant that wish, you still are at the mercy of what Houston is going to do, OKC is going to do, because those are the two teams right now that have all the picks. Utah even can get into the conversation with certain players. But when it comes to these situations with these stars, there is a respect factor with certain organizations that will honor that. Like even for us, we traded Jimmy to Golden State. We could have traded him to many other places realistically, but you still send him to a winning situation. We're not going to be like Cronin, and I don't believe in Milwaukee they're going to treat Giannis like Cronin treated Dame. But Milwaukee's situation is a very dire situation. You already lost Dame for the whole season. When he tore his Achilles, he's done for next season. You got an aging roster. You don't have any of your draft picks. So the only way you can kind of stockpile is you got to tank and
trade your one big asset.
That's it. Another situation, Phoenix. Phoenix is, I know Ishba just hired a friend as his GM, which is, to me, is insane. I believe James Jones is going to be out of there. I believe he's going to resign from that position.
Reassign him for a reason. They were like, oh, no, you're here, but you're not the GM anymore. He's been reassigned to an advisory position or something like that, bro. That's to not fire him. It just, no, he's still here, but he'll resign at some point.
Yeah.
Alex, you want to respond to that?
Man, Justice Winslow didn't pan out, but he had a future, man. He had a future, man. But whatever. That's 5
more years, bro. It's like, okay, 20 years later, we're still waiting, man.
That kid was nice. But whatever. To wrap it up, I want to see the tone. Tomorrow is Pat Riley's end of the year, State of the Heat press conference. You always take, and you know what I love about this? There's a reason he waited a few days. Like he waited almost like a week and a half after we were eliminated. Usually he does it maybe the Monday after. I don't know if he was on vacation or whatnot, but you can kind of tell it was kind of like a decompression before he wanted to speak to the media, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of shit that he's going to say. And respectfully, he only talks once a year. He talks to him in the
He's the
family
only one
festival.
who talks one time. He don't do all that extra stuff.
He's very aligned with. We have one voice, and that's Eric Spoelstra. Like a lot of people talk shit about Pat, but for the past couple of years, the decisions in the Heat organization have been a 3, 4, 5 man conclave, if you want to say it. And they do listen to each other, and there is a changing of the guard. You can see it. There is a changing of a revamp of the culture, and you're gonna kind of see the incline based on their actions. If they're gonna go young, like even Houston, Udoka and Rafael Stone were asked, what direction do you want to do? Is like, we might like continuity. A lot of teams understand that with a new CBA, it's not about trading for these superstars anymore. I do believe free agency is going to come back a little bit, and the NBA has to get it under control. I heard it today. Ethan did an episode. I forgot. I think it was with Wallace, and they were talking about the supermax situation where if you make All NBA, you qualify for the supermax. They proposed just making it first team All NBA. You have to be realistic. These guys cannot be getting these crazy numbers, and they're not worth that. Realistically, not everyone's Michael Jordan, not everyone's LeBron James. So kind of like you're talking about the QB market, like cap situation away from the team, there has to be some sort of restructure because these supermax deals are ridiculous, and guys asking out before. I understand leverage comes into play. So I'm going to be very interested to see once, first of all, the draft lottery, which I believe is in a few days or maybe next week. I'm not 100% sure. You kind of want to see who gets the first pick. And then now you start hearing the rumors of fits with picks and who can be packaged in deals. And it always surprises you who asks out. And you start hearing the murmurs. And when there's smoke, there's fire. So I just want to see what direction they go. I do believe realistically, Durant is more realistic than a Giannis, than a Luka. And that's if something, for example, if Luka signs his extension. Luka doesn't sign his extension this offseason. That's another storyline. So it's going to be seismic moves in the next 2 years, especially in 2026.
Q, what are your thoughts, man? Response,
bro. If you want to know what I'm tired of, like when it comes to the Heat, is Heat culture. I don't know if anybody else, like I'm a little bit kind of tired of that. I think that needs to be retired. I think we're at a point now with the Heat where they become, they're kind of like this. They're not bad enough to pick at the top of the draft, right? They end up not in the lottery, right? And then this year, we ended up, getting out of the play-in, which to me didn't make any sense. It's like, what? Like, why are we? And listen, and I get, before I say this, I understand. I don't want the comments to be like, oh, well, they're not going to tank for what. I get that. I understand it. That's fine. But to me, like there was no benefit to making the playoffs this year, all right? Because they were never going to beat Cleveland. And I get, oh, you never know what happens. They weren't going to beat Cleveland. Period. Point blank. End of story. Like they would have. Honestly, if you watch Boston play and the way New York is playing them, like they would have had a better chance against Boston than they did against Cleveland, based on what I'm seeing and based on the way things are going with them. But you're seeing now where they're kind of in this purgatory, right? They're not bad enough to be to land the first pick, right? The top 3 pick, whatever it is, and then they're just good enough to just like right outside of the lottery, which again, I know that the Heat identify talent. I mean, they do well, and with the guys, look at Duncan Robinson and what they've done with him, right? Khalil Ware wasn't one of these guys who everybody was rushing to grab. Good player, but not anybody, not top 3 material. Pell Larson has ended up being, a pretty good player. They've kind of lived off, and the list kind of goes on and on, right? Guys that they've identified, they've brought in undrafted guys, second round guys they brought in, they've made them, core guys. Rotation pieces, and the guys have left, so on and so forth, and landed big deals in other places. Some have worked out, some have. Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, guys like that. So I mean, they do well in that arena. Where I think the problem is that we're at this point now where Tyler Hero, right, is coming up now for an extension, right? Bam, I feel like we saw our best player this year is Tyler Hero. Look at what Tyler Hero as essentially your number one, right? After, because Jimmy's not there. But Tyler Hero as your number one, where are you going to go with Tyler Hero as your number one? Let's call it what it is. you're not going anywhere with Tyler Hero as your number one. You're not going to be in title contention. I like Tyler Hero. They drafted him, they developed him, the whole deal. They drafted him at a point where I think a lot of people were like, Tyler who? And he's become a really, really good player, career highs and everything this year, so on and so forth. Bam, a really good player, a guy who I still think needs to develop a little bit more offensively. I think everybody could agree with that. Really, really good defensively. But a guy who I think is limited, right? He's not a true 5. He's not really a stretch 4, right? He's kind of like somewhere in the middle, right? 2 really good players, but not guys that are 1s and 2s on a championship team, right? So I'm a little bit confused on what we can't get into this mode where anybody's untouchable, right? We can't enter the offseason in that mentality. I think everybody's available, right? It doesn't from 1 to 15. Everybody has to be available, for a trade if it means making the team better. But I think we have to decide on a direction. It's like, all right, are we gonna stick around and are we gonna surround Bam and Tyler with some pieces and see what happens, or are we gonna go and we're gonna blow this thing up and start from ground zero? You know what I mean? And let's get away from this. Oh, they have to fit the culture. And listen, man, get guys with, obviously we need talent and we need guys that are going to be good teammates. Guys that are going to learn the system. Guys that aren't going to be in trouble. And let's stop with this heat culture BS or whatever. I don't know that Pat Riley needs to continue to make the moves. If I'm being honest, I don't know. Again, we talked about it now being kind of a more collaborative effort with more of a handful of guys. Was it Andy Ellison, big dude?
Ellisberg, right?
Ellisberg. And Adam Simon.
There you go.
Is their assistant GM.
Exactly. And right. So I think it's a little bit more collaborative these days, right? It's not just Pat Riley. I think we kind of got away from that. But I think at the end of the day, as long as Pat Riley is in the building, I think Pat Riley's shadow looms large. And no matter, we can call it collaborative, but my personal opinion would be that no matter what, Pat Riley at the end of the day is the one making the decisions, whether it's in the draft, whether it's in free agency. And so honestly, I never thought I'd say it about Pat Riley, but I don't think it'd be a bad thing for Pat Riley to bow out and be like, all right, boys, it's been real. I've been doing this, 50 years. I'm going to kind of fall back. I'll be an advisor, and I'm going to let, everybody else, all the guys that are in the building now, kind of continue moving forward, making the decisions or whatever. But again, man, we're kind of in this weird place, with the team that, they got to do something. They have to do something. And what that something is, I guess, sorry for not having like that exact, what my exact move would be, but also a lot of it is going to come down to, okay, now what's the new CBA, going to look like? Because that's going to make it really difficult for these big moves to be made. Right. And I think that's almost better if you're a Heat fan, right? Because I think where the Heat have excelled is identifying, those guys that kind of fit the system and have brought them in, developed them right, and built a team where, we haven't been obviously outside of the big 3 era, which clearly, that's the big outlier and the exception. But outside of that, they've, again, Tyler Hero is drafted, developed, Bam, drafted, developed, they traded for Jimmy, but Jimmy wasn't that move where, again, a top 3 guy, he fit when he was in his right mind, when he was doing everything the right way and he was happy. Of course, he was pissed off because they weren't going to extend him. And that's when obviously he kind of, went scorched earth and obviously, stopped being, a good teammate and the whole deal. But like, again, Jimmy fit that hard nosed, edgy, defensive minded type of team. But even with Jimmy there was a cap. There was a cap with Jimmy there. Right. You can only be so good with Jimmy, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo. Like, call it what it is. Could you be good? Yeah. Could you land at, 4th in the East and make a run to the finals? Yeah, they showed that, right? That's fine. But when they got to the finals, what happened? They were outmatched because those guys just, again, they're built for the playoffs, but they weren't built to win a title, And so I think, again, you have to decide, what are we going to do with Tyler Hero? Is Bam really untouchable? But again, man, I think somebody put in the comments, right, that listen, everybody's on the block. This team needs a reset. They need a reset in mentality. They need a reset in direction. And again, we'll see where it goes. I think they're built for it. I think they are very capable of doing that, of that reset and kind of going in a different direction. But I want to see it. Like this play-in, and then celebrating the play in. Oh my God, we got in and we're the first 10 seed to get. Look, stop. You can't be celebrating winning the play in and making it in the playoffs as, you know, to play the number 1 seed. Like that's not what this team front office is looking for. That's not what Spo is looking for. And that's not what Tyler and Bam are looking for. Like, we can't be celebrating the 10th seed and making it in the, you know, out of the play in and into the playoffs. So again, what exactly the new direction should be, I'm not 100% sure. A lot of these guys would take a lot of assets to get back, right? KD is going to take maybe not as many assets. He's kind of later on in his career. Giannis is going to take a bunch. I saw something earlier today, I think it was on Twitter, where somebody was saying they were proposing something, you know, built around. I know it was acquiring Larry Markkinen, and I can't remember the package of assets and players that it was, but I thought it was very doable. You know, how much does that move the needle? What does that make them afterwards? I like Larry Markkinen. I think the dude can play. You know, and I think the package, like I said, I would do it, and I'd have to find the you know, the message or whatever. But it was a package that if it were me, that's why I said my buddy who sent it to me. I was like, it was a gift of dude that was like, send it. You know what I mean? It was like, send it. You know, because I would. It was, to me, it was no reason not to. But again, where does that put you in the East? You know, I mean, you see it's wide open. You know, because now even look at Boston. You know, Boston they're gonna have to. You know, just like my man was saying, like, the changes are coming in Boston.
Yep.
It's not sustainable anymore. You can't do the dual dual $300 million contracts plus Porzingis plus Drew Holiday, you know, 6 man of the year. Like,
White.
Yeah, exactly. So they're gonna look different next year. You know, Philly, they're a disaster, you know, with what they've done and the whole. So, you know, again, I think it's wide open. And I think it's tailor-made for Miami to be easily in the top 3 with the right moves. But we have to pick a direction and go that direction and spare nobody. Like, you can't make this about emotion. Oh my God, we love Tyler, we love Ben. Listen, if they give you the right package, they're gone, in my opinion. So
let me follow up with that very quick, because it's not disagreeing with you. I just to follow up on your point. So let's say you include a Bam, right? So like Alex would say, you know, he would include a Bam if it was for someone like a Giannis, right? Or an Anthony Edwards. For you, is that where you would include Bam, or is it where, like, no, it's just let's move them? Because you're saying, like, you know, basically, if correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying tear it down and kind of rebuild, restart. Like, would you trade Bam for picks and some from lower end players just so you get more draft picks?
Listen,
Yeah,
and I'm not one of these people. Look, we know what picks can be, and we know what they cannot be, right? The picks are simply that, a chance to hit on somebody, right? So for me, the picks aren't the big deal. And to me, when I think, in my opinion, when you go pick heavy, I think you're almost looking to rebuild, right?
Correct. Correct.
And so look at what Oklahoma City did, and now it's worked out for them. But Sam Presti was the king of, like, okay, listen, we're going to trade you this guy, and then we're going to get first round picks, you know, and I think you can trade them, I think 5-6 years out or something like that. So Sam Presti, over the course of like 7-8 years, was just stacking first round picks for 5-7 years out or whatever. Now finally started to work out for him, right? So they were rebuilding forever, right? You remember, right? James Harden, you know, KD, Russell Westbrook, you know, played in the finals against the Heat and the whole deal. So they were good. Then they weren't good for a long time, and now you've started to kind of reap the benefits of all those picks that you accumulated. So to me, I think acquiring just a ton of picks is a sign of rebuilding, and I don't think the Heat are ever going to be in that mode where they're going to rebuild. I think they're going to, before they rebuild, they're going to be like, listen, we'll be the 6, 8, 9, 10 seed or whatever it is. We're not rebuilding. We don't rebuild, right? No. We know Pat Riley is not a fan of young dudes or picks or whatever it is. Pat Riley is and whoever it is, I'm sure that's going to be making the decisions in front office, is going to want players back. So I definitely, again, every transaction is going to have picks involved. It's just the nature. It's the nature of the NBA. There's always picks involved. But I think, to me, I need to see players in return. You know, again, I'm saying don't just like, I'm done with Bam, I'm done with Tyler, just get rid of them. But again, we can't make it so that, oh no, the T culture, Tyler and Bam, or no. If getting rid of them is going to make the team better, then get rid of them, make the team better. And look, and I found the message that my buddy sent me. So one option, and I don't know where he got this from. So sorry for not giving credit to whoever. I guess it was BR. There's a one option is to make a blockbuster trade for Utah Jazz big man Lauri Markkanen. So his Bleacher Report predicts the Heat would cut ties with former number 1 pick Andrew Wiggins, Nikola Jovic, Terry Rozier. So you can't get him out of the building fast enough. I don't know what happened to that guy. That guy forgot how to play basketball.
And 3 first-round picks.
Duncan Robinson, a 2025 first-rounder, and a 2029 first-round pick in a trade for Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, and Jordan Clarkson. I would do that the day before yesterday.
I would do that.
I would do that the day before yesterday.
I would do that, but the thing is, Danny Ainge will ask for Tyler Hero. So you're going to probably have to swap out one of them, and I will still do it. I will still do it even if you include Tyler Hero, because Danny Ainge loves Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
And I would move it. That's not a bad package at all.
Bro, I literally would do that yesterday.
That's not a bad package.
100%.
One thing I want to clarify, Q, because that's the one thing that people about making the playoffs this year. The reason the front office was making a push is if we didn't make the playoffs this year, we would have to give OKC
that's what it is.
Our 2026 unprotected, and then Charlotte got our 2028 unprotected.
Yeah.
So with the state of the franchise, where you don't know what could happen,
because those would be big losses pick-wise.
Those are huge losses because the drafts that are coming up are like you still get. That's why I was so, and that was all Adam Simon. He was able to extract the first-round pick for Golden State this year because they wanted to give us, I think it was a pick from another team that they had acquired. I don't know if it was Cleveland or whatnot. So it would have been like in the 30. So they were able to get that pick. So you still have a de facto first-round pick this year. You still traded Jimmy. But, and the good thing about that is you can move it, but you still got now semi-control of your 20 moving forward. Exactly, every picks moving forward. So it gives you, you do lose the asset because you don't have 4 tradable picks, but depending on who you're going with, you still got some 100%. Young pieces. And the most attractive contract is the Duncan Robinson contract because it's partially guaranteed. So a lot of teams that are looking for salary cap relief, the Suns, would love a contract like Robinson because you can waive him and he only counts for like $9 million against your cap instead of 19. So I'm telling you, it's going to be a fascinating. And there was a comment there. I think Kevin said that he went to Zoe, and you can feel that this team is going to be completely different next year. I don't know, like you mentioned, who's coming and going to the extent of what becomes available, because there might be some sort of continuity with removing certain key roles and having new fresh blood in. Because the one thing that Bam does have around the league is that everybody knows Bam. Everybody wants to play with Bam, and
he's a respected dude.
He's a respected dude.
He's a respected dude. Anchor of a defense. Yeah, 100%. Anchor of a defense. The guy can D up anybody. You know, has to develop a little bit more offensive game. But
of course. And with him has always been the consensus of everybody knows he can play based on the situation and an offense. Sometimes people wonder if he's limited to what he can do because Bam is really a point guard. Like Bam just had like a growth spurt when he was like in high school where he grew like 6 or 7 inches one year. But he handles the ball like a point guard and he's a playmaker and he's strong in the wing. So ideally, if you see Bam going forward, you might see him be kind of like a 3/4, depending on where and depending on who we pick.
The problem with that, brother, and I don't 100% disagree with you. The problem is that
don't be nice. Tell him to me completely. He disagrees with you. Full of shit.
I love it.
The problem with Bam is that he the shooting
inconsistent
doesn't make him like a stretch 4, right? Yeah. Like can he initiate the offense? Yeah, he'll bring the ball up, right?
Absolutely.
Like a point forward, and he'll right, and that's cool. But he doesn't give you the shooting of like a Karl Anthony Towns, right? He does like. They play the same position. Obviously, Bam is an elite defender. Cat is allergic to playing defense. But like in terms of size and shooting ability, the whole deal, like Bam doesn't possess. He doesn't possess that, right? It was maddening watching that series against Cleveland. It's like, bro, what is Bam doing?
Yeah.
Why is Bam out there shooting threes? Like that's not his game.
No, it really isn't.
That's not his game, bro. He needs
elbow jumpers are his game.
100%, bro. Yeah. Listen, the mid-range game. Cool. I'm with it. Run. If you want to run action for him, you want to run plays for him, it's got to be inside the 3, bro.
And burst pick and rolls with him.
100%, man. It's got to be, it's got to be mid-range 2s, cool. But out there shooting 3s, like, what are we doing? Like what?
I want to see him run a pick and roll with Khalil, and I think that's coming. Like him and Khalil in a pick and roll, because you got size, you got functional. Khalil has to get stronger.
Yeah,
But
those guys have to learn.
Happens.
Yeah, those guys, and obviously with Khalil being young still, I think you have potentially a great front line.
Correct.
You could make the argument, even though Devon Castle won Rookie of the Year this year, for a good bit of the year, Khalil Ware was the favorite for Rookie of the Year, and for good reason.
He was my legitimate choice before the season. I told Alex he was my legitimate choice to be the Rookie of the Year.
For very good reason, he was the favorite over the. He faded kind of towards the end of the year.
Correct.
And Devon Castle kind of took over. But you have, again, if you were to keep those guys together, you have to love what you have with a front line of Bam, Khalil Ware, Khalil Ware at the 5, Bam at the 4, and you put a legit wing, again at the 3. You got to like what you have there for sure with that front line. And again, I think that has to be something that you have to be looking at to get in return. If you're making any type of move, it'd be nice to get a legit 3, right? A guy, a legit scorer at 3. So again, I like the potential there. But again, whatever the direction is, right, pick that direction and let's move forward.
Let's stick with it.
Yeah, man. But I'm this in the play-in for 3 straight seasons. Is that? I mean,
oh no. Yeah, that's gonna. Yeah,
like come on, like that we got to get away from that. But I also think, and I'll let you guys jump in. What I think is coming in terms of the new rules being implemented, I think there's very few front offices that are better equipped to adjust to that and move forward and win kind of in those margins.
Yeah.
Than the front office of the Heat.
Yeah,
that's what I will say.
They got ahead. They got ahead, especially with the Jimmy situation in that regards, and that's something that's going to come into play this offseason and the coming season, really, when Terry, if we can't move Terry, and that's one thing that I want fans to like actually understand. If we're not able to move Terry, even though he's an expiring, you're just going to let his contract play out, which is what we should have done. We should have let Lowry's contract expire. But at the time, we were making the move. And you can make the argument, Jimmy doesn't get hurt or he doesn't miss many games. We're not a playing team last year. So there's that part.
For sure.
But still, 100%. You are what your record says you are. No matter what. In a season, a team will average out and become who they are. It's not a 10-game sample size. It's an 81-game sample size. So it's telling, but definitely you're not going to see a playing team anymore. You're not going to see that. And there might be some struggles depending on which direction we go, which I doubt they're going to go that direction. But now you gotta, if you're going to stick with Bam and you have that timeline, now you can't waste those years either because those are prime years. So that is when you are in a transition period where you're like, shit, what do we do? Is he on board? Like those are things that the tough conversations have to happen, but you're maybe like a year or two away from understanding what this team is really going to be.
Yeah, and one of those tough conversations is going to be, and I think people have talked about it, in the chat, and then it's been brought up. What number is Tyler Hero going to be comfortable with moving forward?
Oh yeah,
because that contract's coming.
Yeah,
that contract's coming.
I wouldn't go to 50. I would not go to 50. Maybe 45. No. I'll max out at 45. Me.
Yeah.
Because the salary cap is going to rise again.
It's going to rise. Yeah.
And if I'm going to do a contract extension with Tyler Hero, I'm doing it this year. I'm not waiting for the following year because it's going to be a higher number.
100%.
He messes around, gets all NBA. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, you gotta come. It's his first year being an all-star, right?
Yes.
And obviously he's moving in the right direction. But again, I there's nobody that can convince me otherwise that with Tyler Hero as your number one, which they are positioned currently for that to be the case, with Tyler Hero as your number one, you are very limited in how far you can go in the playoffs.
Correct.
Period.
Correct.
Period.
I will say, to wrap that point up, those points in awesome back and forth, is that we'll have a very clear picture, I believe, by the end of tomorrow, what the Heat plan on doing, because you kind of figured that out with what Pat Riley was saying last year with Jimmy Butler. I think tomorrow we're going to know exactly where Miami's going to be headed this offseason, because Alonzo Mourning has said it. Coach Spo has said it.
Yes.
And even Bam Adebayo said there's going to be some changes. There has to be changes.
Yeah.
So I'm with Q. I'm with you at a point of like, I don't think anybody should be untouchable. Of course, like I'm more in favor of the younger guys. Like I would like to keep Khalil Ware and Hawkins and Jovic, but I'm with you. Like, it's what have you done for me lately? And Khalil Ware is probably the one because he just started. But in regards of Bam and Tyler, it's like Eddie Murphy. What have you done for me lately? You know, I don't think anybody should be off the table if it means bettering the team. In regards of what type of major changes that could go down, and you say this could be a completely different team. Obviously, Rozier is an easy answer. I think Duncan Robinson is one of those guys, especially with his deal that he could be moved.
That guy's been an easy answer since he got that extension.
I know, you know, but those are guys like, you know, and Wiggins. I think now Wiggins is and I think Wiggins now is in that conversation as well. Where again, you're not going to get some major player from those guys, but you might be able to free up some major cap for 2020. You spread them and get a couple of smaller guys on 1-year deals, and with the plan of 26 around the corner. So now that, you know, we're about an hour and 20 minutes, but that's okay. We have fun, you know. But we got to get to know Q, Alex, before we wrap up.
Oh,
you know?
That's the time.
So,
it's time, man. It's time.
Oh, man. Here we go.
You know. First things first, Q. You know, you were born, we talked about it on the draft show, and that's what I was like, whoa. But I knew I was going to have you on either way because, you know, you're a good dude. But Hialeah Hospital. You were born in Hialeah Hospital. You grew up in Kendall, if I remember. Right. Yep. So talk to me, man. How the heck? You know, you grew up in Kendall. When did you move to Kendall from Hialeah?
Bryce, I was definitely pre-elementary school. So I didn't spend a lot of time in Hialeah. Born in Hialeah Hospital, raised in Kendall. I lived went to elementary school. It's a place called Kendall Elementary. It was over there. Off of Kendall Drive, 107th, right there behind that Publix. So I went there for my first. Or I'm sorry, I started at Sunset Park. I'm lying. I started at Sunset Park, which was off of like 97th Avenue and Kendall going. Kendall going towards like Sunset, kind of back in that neighborhood. It was Sunset Park, so I was there. I think it was like 3 years. Transferred to Kendall, so I was there at Kendall for all the way through the rest of elementary school. Went to Glades Middle School.
Okay.
Went to Glades Middle School, and then I was supposed to go to Killian, but we moved, and then I ended up going to Braddock High School. So I graduated from Braddock in '97. So. Yeah, man, Kendall, you know, Kendall pretty much born and raised, and then I moved out to Atlanta in 04.
So what got you out to Atlanta?
Change, man. At the time, I wasn't being as productive as I needed to be. I had,
gotta get out of here. You gotta get out of here.
Yeah, bro. Miami at the time was a problem. And you know, so it wasn't my first move, but I had, you know, like. So my old man, I passed a couple years before that. My big brother a couple years before that, and I just kind of got in this mode, man, where I wasn't, you know, like I said, man, just wasn't headspace. I wasn't in a good place. I wasn't, you know, just doing things the way I was supposed to. Felt like I needed to change. Looked around for some jobs in the fire department, and I was like, you know what, man, I'll be gone for a couple years. And that was June of 04 and haven't been back. So I go back regularly, but haven't moved back.
You know,
never thought that would be the case. Never thought that would be the case.
Bro.
Yeah,
bro. Good for you.
I was close by while you were in the draft. We had a tournament in Cummings, Georgia.
Oh yeah, very familiar with Cummings. Yeah.
I love. That's funny right there. I'm very familiar with Cummings. See, you got to get that snippet. You got to get that snippet, man.
I'm in Georgia.
Baby.
Yeah, my uncle lives down there.
It's a nice area.
It's a beautiful area, man.
It's a nice area for Forsyth County, bro. Forsyth County.
Oh,
I know it well. So from where I'm at right now, I'm north of the city in Gwinnett County, which is the county I work in. But I'm in a city called Swanee, and then from here, Cumming is probably like 20 minutes from.
Wow,
so
that's where my uncle lives in Cumming, Georgia. Him and his family. So
nice.
Yeah, so if I ever visit, I'll let you know, bro.
Oh, you gotta let me know, man. You got what's Halcyon, which is like the big new shopping center out there, and got bars and restaurants and kind of beautiful place. That area has grown immensely.
But dude, I just gotta say, man, I gotta compliment you because that's awesome, dude. To take the leap, to realize like, hey, I'm just in the wrong place. I need to get away, and you actually had the balls to do it, and you did it, and you're thriving. I hope it looks like you look like you're doing well.
Everything's good, man. Everything's good.
God bless you, bro. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, 20. It'll be June. It'll be 21 years.
God, dude, that's great.
That I've been in the fire service. That I've been in Georgia. Never would have guessed that I would be here this long. I was like, man, I'll come in for a couple of years, man, and it just became home. And miss some stuff obviously at home and in Miami and everything, but great things. I get to go home regularly. I'll be down there actually in a couple weeks. I'll be down there June 19th.
Awesome.
June 19th through the 23rd, because my mom's and my niece's birthday is the same day, June 22nd.
Nice.
Oh, nice, dude. Okay.
Yeah, man, I get to go down there regularly. But yeah, man, Georgia became home. I don't regret it. It's a cool place, man. It's grown a lot since I've been here. And yeah, man,
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, bro.
And so I got to ask you, because you say you're a Miami fan with every other team except for the Dolphins. What did the Dolphins do to you for you not to be a fan of the Dolphins?
They never did anything to me personally. But bro, I just always, man, with the Niners being on TV and always being really good, I was just always drawn to them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Always drawn to them. It was just kind of one of those deals. Football above everything else. Like and obviously you wouldn't be able to tell, by the name of the podcast, but it's a hate and a love, and then some weeks it's a hate.
It's a thin line.
It's a thin line. Yeah. Very, very thin line. And then you added that fantasy, and then like the parlays, and it drives me up the damn wall. But I can't. Like, I'm a junkie. I just keep coming back. Just again, I was always an Niners fan, but never did. It's one of those things. I don't root against the Dolphins. I never have. It's just the Niners are just Niners.
Got you. That's cool. I
my
get
team, bro. Yeah, man. Like
I had to ask you. Yeah.
We're martyrs, bro. We're martyrs. We just gotta go through it, man. We gotta go
That's
through
it, bro.
That's it. Until we prevail. One day we will. Like, the curse will be lifted, Bobby.
Bro.
And there's gonna be a parade on 103. It can't be 103. It has to be up north. So like by Miramar and all that. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, probably. Was that Anthony Manzano? Hold up real quick. He said, Q, how's it feel to be in enemy territory where you're in Georgia, surrounded by Bulldog fans over there? Bro, I mean, listen, as a Canes fan, there's not really much. I can't do a whole lot of shit talking, up here as a Canes fan. Listen, I hope sometime soon they give me a reason. I go back and forth with them, but I mean, there's only really so much I can say as a Canes fan. Like, I'm not one of these people. I don't run my mouth just to run my mouth. My team has to give me a reason to run my mouth. Like, I'm not just one of those people. Fuck your team. No, listen, man, those guys have been the class of of college football here recently. You got to just hats off to them, and but I said hopefully the Canes here give me a reason here and give me some ammunition to be able to talk shit back, man. Because like I said, if I talk shit back, I gotta I want to back it up with something. I can't just. For no reason.
It can't be 2001.
No, and that's another thing, bro. That's another thing. Like, listen, I'm a realist. Like, I'm of all my teams. Like, I am a.
It's a generation ago.
100%. Like, I'm an optimist, but I'm a realist too. Do I like where Mario is going? I do. Do we need to put that bitch in 6th gear and get there already?
Yes.
Also, yes. So, listen, when they give me a reason to talk trash, then trust me, I'm gonna talk trash. But until they
this might be the year. This might be the year.
From your mouth to God's ears,
this might be
From
the
your
year.
mouth to God's ears, bro.
That line is looking nice, bro. That offensive line is looking really nice,
bro. I cannot wait for this season to start, bro. I'll be down there. For the Notre Dame game.
For Notre Dame? Oh, good game, big game.
I'll be down there.
The Rock.
I'll be down there, bro. It's gonna be wild for that game. It is gonna be wild for that game. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But I think the roster's in good shape. They had a good portal haul. Yeah. I think they brought in reinforcements at pretty much all the position groups. And I think the young guys I think were there. I just think you needed an infusion kind of some experience, and some depth at certain positions. But I think the talent is there, kind of across the board, and it's just a matter of listen, man. If Beck is healthy, bro. Listen, I'm gonna stop before because again, the Canes are like number one of all sports. That are like Canes are like number one, and then it kind of goes from there. But I like the NFL more, but the Canes first, and then just kind
got you. So this is a very important question for our viewers, and I'm not even gonna bother asking Alex because we know the answer. But I'm gonna ask you because I kind of running gag on our show, even though Alex has to start manning up to it, even though he wants to do a live show, which Josh Kimmel has said because he hasn't seen it that he will watch it with you live on the show.
Perfect. You see, I'm telling you, we got to do it. We might have another one. So,
have you watched A Bronx Tale?
Bro, 1,000% I watched the Bronx.
Well,
There we go.
Alex.
1,000%.
Hey,
Alex has never seen it, bro.
I've never watched it.
Never
bro.
watched the Bronx.
I've seen memes of it and all, but I've never actually watched the movie.
Bro, classic movie, bro. Classic movie. Robert De Niro. And the cast is legit, and I don't remember everybody's name. I know the faces.
Yeah.
I'm not a movie buff like that, right? But those classics like that, especially like gangster movies, bro. Listen, Bronx Tale, Casino, Goodfellas, you know.
See, I've seen all the other ones.
Bro. Hey, Bronx Tale though.
But Bronx Tale is one of those underrated films.
Bro, underrated. Yeah. Underrated, but money.
Yeah.
Like Robert De Niro is not his usual, like, you know, he's not like because Robert De Niro in all his movies, he's a G, right? Yeah. He's a G, right? And in that movie, like he's not so much, right? But still great character. And the gangster, you know, in the movie, was it Sonny Black? Sonny Black is his name?
But yeah, Sonny. I know. Yeah, he's the Sonny's the mob boss. Yeah.
Sonny's the mob. Yeah, and he's you know, awesome character, right? But the movie itself, bro, underrated gangster movie.
De Niro plays the father, but it makes you feel like how would you be as a father? Like when that's my son. Like you would go like, I hope I'm that. Like I'll come in. And,
you see, Kevin hasn't seen it. Kevin, let's go, right there.
Chaz. Boom. Yeah, that's the actor. Chaz is the actor.
Tatiana's gangster movies are my favorite genre. Hey, Tati, I'm right there with you. That's those are hard to beat.
Too real, dude.
So many classics.
She gets
so many classics.
Real, man. I don't know how many times she pulled a knife on me, dude. Like, you know.
Well, she likes gangster movies, bro. So
I know, bro.
It's true.
I told her, you know, I've always told her, like,
real G.
Thank God she never became like, you know, a head of state, because she'd be a straight up dictator. I know that for a fact. I've told her before. She'd be Tatiana Escobar or Castro or something. Like, I didn't know.
Christ, man.
I'm telling you, dude, I'm dead ass. Like, you guys try living with her. You know, I'm telling you. Not a lie. I've told people before. If you ever go to Peacock and you see Dateline and you see an episode of my picture like this, she did it.
He was,
and
it's
like,
you know, like, he was a national man.
911. I got a tip.
She hates when I say that, dude. She hates when I do that shit. She's like,
Puerto Rican.
Stop it. They're going to leave it me.
She's like, stop. That is a lie. Just playing.
Let me see here, man. Let's see.
But yeah, whoever hasn't watched Bronx Tale, like y'all get with it, brother. You're not going to be disappointed. I promise you.
I'm just look at this point. I'm just waiting because we were going to do a live show and we're going to watch the movie live. And now I got another comparison. Who is it? You told me Wingate or Kimmel?
Nice.
Josh Kimmel. Who knows the rest
Perfect.
of the show?
We got Kimmel. Me and you, man.
So
the bad hip too.
Let's get some random ass questions out of the way here.
Let's roll.
Let's make it uncomfortable.
Let's roll.
All right, all right. Well, first off, your 3 most favorite weird smells. Like if somebody might go, oh, dude, and you might go, no, dude, I love that smell. Like,
bro, you know, weirdly, oddly enough, like I like the smell of gasoline. I don't know why.
I said that too.
Fair, yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why I like the smell of gasoline.
Yep.
I'd say that probably, you know, counts as a weird one. Other weird smells. Favorite weird smells. I don't know if this counts as weird, right? Like you know, when it rains, like when blacktop kind of when it first rains, like that smell that comes after, like right as it starts to rain, kind of that smell that comes from the blacktop. I don't know why. I don't know if that counts as weird. But I actually do like that smell. Weird smell. Damn, it's a good one. Weird smell. Damn.
Fresh fiberglass on the boat.
Yeah, bro.
I can smell it now.
Smell of burning house, right? No, smell of a burning house is that's not one of my favorite smells.
Yeah,
DSG, that's dark, dude. Like,
that's just money,
smell
man.
of a burning house smells like money to keep.
Listen, bro, I get paid whether we go to a fire or not. So
yeah,
you know, I tell people. You know what's crazy to tell people all the time, and not to get away from the subject, but I get people tell me all the time is like, you know, oh my God, do you love? And I'm like, I always tell people all the time, I don't wish for that. I just want to be there when it happens.
Yeah.
Right. And so oddly enough, I guess in a weird way, and just not to go on like a work tangent.
It's all good.
What I tell my guys, right, is you'll see, or I'm sorry, you'll smell a fire before you ever see it. And it just gets when it's gotten to a point where, and it's something legit, when you're going to a legit house fire, I always tell my guys when we're on our way there, because we wear headsets right on the way to a fire, so you can leave your windows roll down a little bit. The noise is ridiculous, but I'll roll my window down just a little bit. So on our way there is a smell you get
associated
that okay, hey, and I'll tell them like, hey, this thing's burning. I don't know what it is.
You can tell
it's
from the
just,
smell.
Yeah, just
of
from
course,
the smell.
the severity of it.
When you get close enough, you'll get the smell. And before, now again, a lot of times, obviously, you'll see, like, we call it the header, right? You'll see like that big plume of smoke coming. But as you get, especially at night, where you don't get the same plume of smoke from a long ways away, because it's dark and everything. But as you get closer, before you ever see flames, you get that smell, and you're like, oh, here we go. We're about to work. So I guess oddly, that is probably one of my favorite smells. I hate what it signifies, but it's one of the coolest experiences. Like, obviously it sucks that people go through all that, but I want to be there when it does happen. So I guess oddly enough, that probably is also one of my favorite smells.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick, Bob. Just one thing, and this is my personal thing. Craziest story that you can tell without obviously any repercussion or anything, or like any extra details on all that. Crazy story from your career that you can tell, something that it might be a few, but something that right now you know exactly the moment, what happened, what you did, where were you, like what is the craziest story you can recall?
Oh man, there's
as a firefighter.
As a firefighter.
There's damn. There's so many of them. There's so many of them that aren't pleasant. So I'm trying to think about like a pleasant one, because they're memorable for the wrong reasons. Unfortunately,
of course.
So yeah, I gotta think of one that's audience friendly, so I don't depress everybody. Because there's a lot of bad ones, bro. There's a lot of bad ones. But honestly, man, just to you dumbest thing you've ever done to impress your friends or a girl. Oh, bro, that's for another day right there, Anthony. It's for another day.
Good, Anthony. That's a great question for this segment. That is great.
You want to ride in the truck?
Hey, listen, I've made some promises I haven't been able to keep. Come on, girl. Yeah, come by.
I'll last a full minute, babe. 10 seconds in. I'm sorry, babe.
Sorry, bro.
I swear, we gotta call. You gotta go. We gotta call. You gotta go. Sorry. There's always a good thing about my gays that I always have an easy out. But if I get annoyed by something, it's like, oh, hey, look, I gotta go.
That's perfect. That is perfect.
I gotta go. It's built-in excuse all the time.
Surgeons, firefighters. That's it. Everything.
I haven't heard from you in 2 days while I worked at 48. I left. I've been gone forever. I've been saving
at the station,
cats.
babe. I see you in the car.
Cats and babies.
I see you in the car.
I tell everybody, no, we've been gone from the station for all 24 hours. But no, man.
Ecuador.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or that. It's like sweet, I'm in another country. I'm not even working. The very, very generally speaking, man. So I always tell people, you see, so I'm at a department. I'm at a busy department in Gwinnett County. Run roughly 120,000 calls a year. But we did 120 last year. We're top 20 in the country ish. And so we get to do a lot, get to see a lot. We run fire. I'm a paramedic also, so we get to, so we fight fire. We run, we heart attacks, strokes, shootings, stabbings, car accidents, fire, but literally everything between. People call 911, and I'm sure everybody knows at this point, it's like literally like 911 for literally everything. When you don't know what to do, you know what? You call 911. That's how it goes. Some of the coolest things on the EMS side of things, some of the coolest things that I've got to do and got to be a part of is being part of a crew who, not only have we birthed babies on the side of roads, we've gotten to people where literally their heart isn't beating and been able to get them back, get them to the hospital. And a couple of weeks later, they come by with their family, they bring us food, the whole deal. Yeah. And so to me, the fighting fire aspect of things, man, is really cool. It's better, it's better than any drug, better than, listen, roller coasters, it doesn't matter what you do for fun. Like, it is the most insane thing that you can think of. Like, it's hard to put in words. Movies don't do it justice. It's hard to recreate, the feeling, the not being able to see anything and still have to do your job. Like a lot of it, it's crazy and it's such a good time. But the most rewarding, part of things is having been able to do right by people, by people's family, and you know, get in the hospital safely and the whole deal. They come by a week or two later, you know, with their families and their kids and the whole deal, and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much, you know, for doing what you guys do and the whole deal. So I think kind of like without really, you know, picking one out, like very generally speaking, because luckily I've gotten the chance to do that, you know, on more than one occasion. And it really is, man, like when you talk about like being really, really fulfilled and knowing that you know,
made a
that
difference.
you and your guys made a difference.
Yeah.
It's a feeling that, you know, I know not everybody, you know, gets a chance to experience based on what they do for work and everything. Obviously that's our job. That's what we do. But to be able to do that, you know, and just somebody just come by and say thank you, like it really is, man. It doesn't get any better than that, man. So it really is cool. And also who I get to do it with, like, you know, the coolest people, you know, that I get to work with, and that, you know, that I get to be, you know, a part of a crew with and everything, man. It really is, like, you know, friends for life, you know, that kind of thing.
Cool. It's a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood.
Yeah, dude, it really is, man. It really is. Like it's as cool as you know, as anything you can ever do. You know, sometimes there's good days, there's bad days, there's happy days, there's sad days. But man, it really is, man. It's a fulfilling gig. And, you know, like I said, dude, to have that feeling, to have somebody who dude, how many people are like, oh man, this dude's dead. You know, we're doing this just to, you know, go through the motion. And, you know, we'll go to the hospital later on and be like, hey man, the guy you guys brought in, he's up in ICU, he's alive. I'm like, oh shit. And then like a week later, week and a half later, comes by the station. He's like, oh my God, thank you guys. This is my wife, this is my kids.
Yeah, for you not giving up.
Bro, it's incredible. It really is. It really is, you know, incredible. So, yeah.
So now that you say that, and you go back, because somebody mentioned Backdraft, I think that's in the movie. So I want to ask you though, is there, as doing what you do you judge films like when you see like a film about firefighters?
For sure.
Watch, and you go like,
100%.
Okay.
You know,
is there a movie?
100%.
Okay,
what the fuck is this? This is
what
100%.
movie? Is there a movie that you watch? You're like, oh, that's realistic, and then a movie where you're like, that okay, I can't watch this no more.
One of the ones that I thought was like, you know, fairly
close.
You know, yeah, they weren't like ridiculous in terms of like what they were doing and what they were showing. Was Ladder 49. I thought Ladder 49 was actually
that's
cool.
a good
So
one.
the way it was made, I thought was cool. Because a lot of the stuff, it wasn't, you know, just like the most ridiculous things you've ever seen in your entire life.
Like
you know,
911, that series.
Yeah, yeah. Like, was it like I don't know. Chicago Fire still on. I remember
Fire.
Yeah, bro, I remember years ago, because I know that show's been on. I mean, it's been on for years and years. But I remember like this girl I started seeing or whatever was right as that thing hit. You know, and you know, it kind of became. This was probably season 1. And I started talking to this girl. Like, she invites me over. She said, "Hey, come over. I'll cook." And I was all right, cool. So we go over, and like in the midst of her cooking, she's like, "Oh, you know, I don't know if you ever watched it, but I've been keeping up with Chicago Fire, you know." And I'm like,
you got a line of fire right here.
I was like, all right. It was a means to an end. Everything worked out great. So, you know, so no big deal. Bro, I remember watching that, and it was like painful. It was painful that you're like.
Do you become an automatic movie critic? You're like, wow, this is unbelievable. Who did this? Who did the editing here? Really?
Was like,
really? He's holding the hose like that? Really? You know how much pressure this holds?
So you like, you don't want to be that guy, but sometimes you watch and you go, you know, you're like, come on, man. Like,
I can imagine that being like a gun expert when they're seeing all the Rambo movies.
Yeah.
And just like
if you're a cop, yeah, it's natural, right? Like if you're a cop or if you're a nurse in the ER, right, and you watch, I don't, you know, whatever the hell, Grey's Anatomy, right? And you're watching that, you're going, that's not how you do that. Like, what does that even mean? What are you guys talking? You know, so essentially, it's kind of like, you know, it ends up being the same thing, right? Like Will's like, I feel the same way with teaching. So you know, it's, again, everybody. If you're in a field that is one of those fields that people make movies about, like everybody kind of feels the same way you watch it. Again, Army, I'm sure, cop movies, I'm sure, right, they do the same thing, right? Army, military movies, right, do the same things. Like, there's no way the helicopter
That
could do
series 911, I've never watched it, but I always see clips of it. And there's
Yeah.
every season, every episode is some kind of disaster.
Yeah,
and it's always the same chick in the
it's-
show. I don't know who it is, but
it's
I feel so
incredible.
bad for her. Dude. She's on a cruise ship that capsizes and it's sinking.
Yeah.
And she's in an earthquake, and then her house is collapsing in a sinkhole. And the husband's always like, "I'm coming," and he's like, "It's a commercial."
He's never
and it is.
coming.
Like, dude,
How do you always
put your
get
wife
there?
in a box? Like, God, already, like, lock her up
How
somewhere.
do you always get there? Like, in just
Like,
in
why
the
is she
nick of
always in
time?
these situations? Shootouts. She's in the middle of a shootout. It's like, holy crap, this chick doesn't get a break. I think Jennifer Love Hewitt's in it too. And she's always the 911 operator.
Man,
It's just,
Jennifer Love Hewitt from back in the day, right? That was one of my crushes from back in the day.
Dude. Today too, dude.
Today too.
Respectfully,
Still
respectfully.
No, yeah, from like I Know What You Did Last Summer and kind of all that.
Oh.
Like, bro, back in the day, bro, always been one of my favorites, man.
High quality.
Still to this day. No, I'm not mad at it at all to this day. I just, I would see more of her back then than I do,
Everybody's LOL. Yeah, everybody.
So.
But now, now it's just her, dude. That's it. Wife is watching.
Hey,
It's all good.
listen, bro.
I love you. I love you.
man.
babe.
I love you, babe.
I love
Yeah.
you, babe.
Yeah. Be careful.
I'm just doing it for
Tread
the
lightly.
ratings.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
for the ratings.
Yeah,
Just for the
this
ratings.
is
babe.
a
Just
group
for the
discussion.
ratings.
This is
I'm
a
just
group
fitting in.
discussion.
I'm
This is
fitting
a-
in, babe. Like,
This is a group
relax,
discussion. This is
I
a
didn't
group
mean it.
discussion.
I didn't mean it.
All right, so I know we're running on the thing here. So I mean, we got to have you back because we'll get more of it out. But this is what we do,
brother.
and we do this to each
100%.
other. So,
100%.
but like, weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Weirdest thing I've ever eaten, probably there's a couple. I know I was in Peru and I ate cow heart.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
How was that? Like gooey?
No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Just they gave it the treatment, right? Because I mean, you talk about a heart, obviously it's very muscular and the whole deal, right?
Yeah.
So you got to treat that thing with, you have to
Make it tender.
Was it
super
chewy?
tender. No, I mean, so it was in the pressure cooker, and the whole
Okay.
deal, and so it was more tender than I expected it to be. I just kind of expected it to just kind of be tough. It wasn't my favorite thing. Peru, amazing food in Peru. If you ever get a chance to go, that was not like one of my favorite things I ever ate. It wasn't terrible, but it's not something I would
Some
order
good
again.
ceviche.
Bro,
Papa la
ceviche,
huancaína.
bro, ceviche, lomo saltado, papa la
Oh.
huancaína. You drink pisco till it comes out of your ears because everywhere you go, there's like 45 different types of pisco grapes. So like every restaurant you go to has like their own, little twist on like the pisco and everything like that. So amazing, bro. The food in Peru, absolutely amazing. Their cuisine is top notch. Cow heart wasn't my favorite, and I also eat escargot, the snail. I ate it on a cruise ship.
I don't understand what people like about it.
Not my favorite,
I
bro.
really do not know.
It was like a gooier shrimp.
Yes.
I guess it's probably the best way
Yes.
I could describe
Bubba, have you
it
ever
to
had that? Have you ever
What?
tried escargot?
No, bro. You know that.
Oh my god.
I don't even, you don't have to ask me that to know the answer to that,
I was
bro.
like, no, that's not how I get down, bro.
No,
That's not how I get down.
You tell me.
Google it, Bobby. Google it. Google escargot, and you're like, ugh. What?
Snail? Is that what it was? It's a snail.
Yeah. So escargot, which is like just the French, name for it. Like I said, right in on a cruise ship. That was another one that it was this girl I started talking to. Like she sat at the same table. We just kind of hit it off. She's like, "Oh, I just ordered this." Girl I was like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to." And, had one, and I'm kind of doing the.
He's slowly.
Oh, I got a call. I gotta go. I gotta
Well, you know, I
We got
kinda
a
like-
hold on. I got a
luckily
fire.
had
I got a
some
fire.
liquor.
It's like, where's
Yeah, I had
the
like some
ocean?
beer
Nah,
in
bro,
front
I
of me,
got-
and I'm like,
Oh,
just swallow the.
that was
damn-
outstanding. You want some more? No, I'm full.
I'm good,
waiting
baby.
for- I'm
The,
waiting for dessert. Yeah.
It's funny because we've talked about this all the time. I've opened up a little bit, but I'm a picky eater. I'm not one of those like you say, "Oh, Bobby, do you want to eat a snail?" Or nah, dude, I'm good. But I will watch. Like I love watching like videos. Like there's this guy on Facebook. I gotta find if he has a YouTube channel, but he goes around the world and he'll try out the weirdest foods. And I'll watch that.
Is that the heavy set bald dude?
Zimmerman?
The last Andrew Zimmerman?
No. Skinnier guy.
Okay.
And like he's eating bear paws, he's eating dog, he's eating all that stuff. Like he goes, I mean, bugs, different things like bull testicles, everything. And I'm like, oh god, dude, I'd never do that. I mean, I'd watch you do it. Go ahead and you do it. How is it? It's good, bro. That's great, man. Enjoy it.
It's
I'm
amazing.
gonna take your word
stick
for
with
it,
my
big dog.
McDonald's over here.
I'm
bro.
gonna take your word for it, bro. I love that for you. I love that for you. Like, I'm glad you
Take
love
your
it.
protein. Do
Alex
you,
would be like,
boo?
I choose
Do
to
you,
take in
boo-boo?
protein in a different manner. Like, no,
I don't eat bugs, man. Hell no. No
I'm
way.
straight.
Alex, Bobby,
Anything
bro,
else,
try it,
Alex?
bro. Just try it. Try it with this. It's like, no, that's not good. Just put some salt on it, bro. It's like,
No,
nah.
no,
bro,
it
let's
takes
go,
more
bro.
than salt, bro. Ojo de pescado, nah, brother. I'm good on the fish eye, man. I'm not really playing with the fish eye. And weirdest hard liquor you've ever drank and
Let me
gotten
see,
drunk off
because
of?
everybody's asking. Let me see if I could find them.
Bro, I've had. I don't know if it counts as weird, and I don't know how many people have had it, but I've had absinthe a couple times and gotten absolutely wrecked off absinthe.
Shit.
Didn't do the hallucination, like is was the like back in the day or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've had some weird liquors in a couple places, and I can't remember all the names there. But I was in Portugal, and I had a couple weird liquors, and end of the night, bro, I was twisted. I don't even know what it was, bro. But the one whose name I remember, because I've had it a couple of times for sure, is absinthe, and that's one of those, man, that if you have more than one drink with absinthe in it, and for me, like I tell people, for me, the mixing of liquors doesn't. For me, it's volume. For me, it's the more I drink, that's how I go. But for some reason, bro, like absinthe, or like
mixed
tequila,
with anything.
bro, but absinthe, like mixed with whatever, like that's a recipe for disaster.
For disaster.
Right, I'm not. I would not recommend that. Maybe you're more seasoned and more of a vet than I am. But bro, mixing absinthe with anything, man. A couple times I've done it, I've paid the price, man. I've been absolutely wrecked. So
for me is now that he mentions that, I was way younger, obviously. Now it's like I drink wine, like when we go out.
I don't drink to get wrecked
at all. Yeah. But it was a liquid cocaine, which was Bacardi 151, Goldschlager, and Jägermeister, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Do you smell it, right? Like the more you're like you feel it. And we were eating shit, and we were doing this contest. Me and one of my friends, we had rented a house in Orlando. It was like 8 or 9 of us, and the woods is behind us. And we did a contest to see how many shots we could take within 30 minutes. I took 9, he took 10. For 35 minutes, I was good. When the 40th minute came and the hour came in, I kid you not, my girlfriend at the time took care of me for over 2 hours. I was kneeling in front of the toilet because I hadn't eaten. So it was acid coming out, and I was having conversations with people, and I'm like, look, dude, I can't open my eyes, I can't look, I can't stand up because my whole life is spinning. So I'm just gonna lay down here. I might go to sleep here. I'm okay. I feel happy. I already threw up everything I have, so I'm gonna be there. Never again, man. Never again.
Nope.
So for those who, I gotta check to see if they have a YouTube or whatever. It looks like they have an Instagram, but it's called Best Ever Food Review Show, and his name is Sonny.
Best Ever Food Review Show.
See if you guys can kind of see the guy a little bit. That way you get an idea. He's always wearing a
bandana.
bandana.
Look him up. He's always wearing a bandana.
I'll check him out.
Yeah, but he goes like around the world. Like, let me see here.
Anthony mentioned, it's funny, Bourdain, obviously Bourdain, he died over 10 years ago.
Rest in peace, bro.
Yes,
rest in peace,
amazing
man. What a
show.
Love that guy, bro.
Amazing show,
bro.
It's parts unknown.
5-ish years. No reservations.
No reservations, too. That's true.
Yeah. Look at this. He goes, I ate prahak, which is Asia's maggot-covered delicacy. Ew. That's disgusting, bro.
Absolutely.
Anything that's fermented and shit. I've never understood why. Oh my god,
bro. I don't get the. Listen, as much as I love Asian food, big fan of Thai food. Love me some Thai food, bro. Love me some Thai food. And again, you go all over Asia. Again, I'm a fan of all food, but some of that stuff and that fermented, a lot of stuff like the kimchi and kind of stuff that you have to go you got to go out behind the restaurant to go and grab the thing off the pile. That's ridiculous, right? And they start, no, bro, like absolutely not. Like no. So no, thank you. I had adventurous-ish. But I draw the line.
With limitations.
The smells are.
That's the thing. With food is the smell.
Like the smells, like to eat. Like I'm okay with smells, but now weird smells like to eat.
Yeah. And then when you
Yeah.
combine how it looks with the smell,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
its psyche is like, ooh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah. Because unfortunately, like those things tend to match.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's if you with the smell. Usually, what smells bad isn't super aesthetically pleasing. So it's kind of a
Correct.
double whammy. And I'm like, no,
Correct.
I'm straight. No, man.
Oh
I'm good.
man. So we are almost at the 2-hour mark. It's 11:08 Eastern time for Q and Alex, 10:08 for me. But I apologize for being a little bit behind. My daughter had a concert, so I ran home and just changed and all that. So
No apologies needed, man.
No,
it's
bro.
all good,
All
dude.
is good, bro.
Q, man, I'm so glad that you were able to hop on with us. And again, I don't want this not the last time because I really want to get you on more
Oh
often.
man, let's make it happen, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Let's make it happen more often, man. I'm with it, man. Like I said, as long as I'm not at work, man, I'm most nights I should be available, and like I said, if I'm available, man, I'm ready to do it. Let's get
Sounds good, brother.
Yeah, man.
Q, why don't you let everybody know where we can find you, man? Other than
So the I Hate Football podcast, you find me on the YouTube channel, I Hate Football podcast. Find me on Instagram also, and on Twitter, Hate Football Pod. You can search and find me on there. And yeah, man, who's ever I'd love to get together, man. Anybody who wants to get together moving forward, man. Talk ball, talk life, talk about food, whatever you guys want to talk about, man. I'm definitely with it, man. Look forward to getting together with everybody again, and yeah, man, just talking about whatever, man, having a good time. What's up, little man?
Tristan, when I come into the show, okay, hey, Bobby, Tristan,
what's up, bro?
When you come on screen, I'm gonna go off screen. All right, let's do it. All right, you're on screen, I'm gonna come off. Now, when you go off screen, shift the other way. Oh, come on, there we go. Got a little play going. I'm going back on. I'm going on. Ooh, seamless, beautiful. Love you, buddy.
That's great. That's great.
He's been dying to come on. Like he keeps hovering around me. I'm like, dude, like we're talking about fires and
it's like a fly, right?
Bull
like,
testicles.
You see, they just pops up again. It's like you shift them away, and they're like,
yeah. He heard. He's like, what are you guys talking about?
Fires,
testicles? It's not football anymore. Now I might be able to contribute here.
Yeah, that's right.
Dad, you eat bull testicles? Dad is eating bull testicles.
Alex, any final thoughts before we wrap it up, man?
No, man. Hey, Q, it was a pleasure meeting you. And look forward to conversing once again a little bit more, getting to know you even more. We'll have some more questions. And thank you for being part of the fam. And always have a home here whenever you're available.
I appreciate it, brother.
Feel free to jump on.
I appreciate it, brother, man. I definitely have had a good time with all these guys, man, since we got together the first time. And definitely look forward to making it a very regular thing, man. Let's make it happen. Let's collaborate. Let's talk and
100%,
and just have a good time, man. See where it goes.
For sure.
There you go. All right, guys, everyone who's tuning in, thank you so much for sticking around with us. And for those who dropped off, we appreciate you anyway. Don't forget to like and subscribe. No, I mean that's sincere. At least it's seriously. I'm tired, bro. You're almost done, dude. No, I'm just playing, Scotty. Appreciate you. But everyone who's watching and participating, we appreciate you guys. We'll be back on next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time for another episode of East Century Boys. And I'll be back Saturday noon for Fins Talk Today. Until then, like and subscribe. And if you're a Dolphins fan, Fins up. Good night, Miami.
Peace.
Yo, Gringos in the house. Straight out of Hialeah, no doubt. East 10th Street, where we play out.